Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from the Daily Beast. Now, this was published and updated on September 18th. It's written by Jamie Ross here, who's a sleazy, dishonest little bitch. U.S. admits that Congressman offered pardon to Assange if he covered up Russia links, which is a complete fucking lie. That's not what was said in court. That was not what was mentioned. Push this narrative, okay? So sleazy, all right? This is like desperation type fucking shit. Literally, people can go and look at the court record, and they're going to lie like this. It's like, come on now. I understand you're desperate, but something that's easily looked into, do you really want to try to, like, you know, make ground on something with your Trump deranged bullshit that can be verified in a matter of 2 seconds with a Google search, and they're trying to say maybe suppress this shit? Come on now. Republican Congressman Dan Robichaud offered Assange the deal in 2017, a year after the emails that damaged Hillary Clinton had been published. Yeah, and they were by Seth Rich. I mean, that's, you know, everyone in the world except for the legacy media and all that and the deep state kind of understand it was Seth Rich. Okay, at least the people who are informed. But yeah, okay, it was the Russians. Yeah, keep smoking crack there, people. London. Lawyers representing the United States at Julian Assange's extradition trial in Britain have accepted the claim that the WikiLeaks founder was offered a presidential pardon by a congressman on the condition he would help cover up Russia's involvement in hacking emails from the Democratic National Committee. What they said is you can get a pardon if you name the source. That's verbatim pretty much what they said. Nice try, buddy. Jennifer Robinson, a lawyer, told the court that she had attended a meeting between Assange, then Republican Congressman Dana Robichaud, and pro-Trump troll Charles Johnson at Assange's hideout, the Ecuadorian embassy in London, on August 15th, 2017. You gotta love how he phrases this, at Assange's hideout, like he's some big fucking, like, you know, supervillain or some shit, and he's hiding out on, like, his island, you know, with, like, his face on the side, like he's fucking Dr. Evil or some shit. Okay, and I love this Trump troll, Charles Johnson. He's a Trump supporter. I love that. He's a Trump troll, but you're going to call supporters a troll? Okay. Hell, they actually accuse Robichaud of supposedly being a Russian fucking agent. I mean, they imply it, but yeah. At the end here, the little shitbrick does. It's so sad. And this idea of Russia's involvement, it's Seth Rich, asshole. It's so funny. This is such bullshit. Daily Beast is even more of a fake news outlet than CNN, which is hard to beat. Hell, MSNBC and CNN are kind of running neck and neck. And now you get the Daily Beast going, hold my beer. It's funny. Robinson said the two Americans claimed to be emissaries from Washington and wanted us to believe they were acting on behalf of the president. The pair allegedly told Assange that they could help grant him a pardon in exchange for him revealing information about the source of the WikiLeaks information that proved it was not the Russians who hacked the Democratic emails. That's not what it was. They said, name who it is, you get a pardon. It wasn't, name anyone who wasn't Russians, you get a pardon, you lying sack of shit. Wow. Talk about dishonest. This guy is a lying sack of shit. I mean, literally, the way it's spewing out of his mouth, might have to pull out hip waders. Get myself a full Tyvek suit, too. Get some duct tape to wrap around the boots and shit and grab gloves and everything else. Because he's creating a biohazard here with the shit he's spewing. They stated that President Trump was aware and approved of them coming to meet with Mr. Assange to discuss a proposal, and that they would have an audience with the president to discuss the matter on their return to Washington, D.C., Robinson said. Okay, that's what she said there doesn't back your shit, but whatever. The White House has denied that Trump took part in any such plan. The claim itself is not new. Assange's lawyer previewed the allegation in pretrial hearing in February. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, and the lawyer said the same thing about the fact of it was name who your source was. It wasn't name your source as long as they're not Russian or name someone other than Russians. Nice try. Okay. So anyway, but trial hearing in February. But this is the first time Robinson's testimony has been heard in full. The WikiLeaks lawyer said Robichaud offered Assange the deal a year after the emails that damaged Hillary Clinton in the presidential race had been published, when the Russia investigation was gathering pace. The stolen DNC emails posted by WikiLeaks were hacked by Russian operatives. No, they weren't. That is a lie. All right. The forensics people who went over the files said there was no way they were hacked from outside the DNC. They had to be physically downloaded from inside on the internal network. Forensic experts said this, but yet you got them pushing this fucking story still. Like, science and facts don't matter because, it's the Russians, it's the Russians, it's the Russians. Jesus Christ, you got no proof it's the Russians. After all, what I love is those supposed Russians that did this, the ones that Mueller indicted, that were involved in that wasn't the DNC shit, but my point is, they try to blame the Russians. They try to make these claims of Russians, expecting no Russians to come forward. Pretty much every one of the Russians Mueller accused wanted their day in court, which should tell you a lot about this situation. When pretty much all of them are saying, I'm coming to the United States. I got attorneys. I want my day in court. They dropped the charges because they knew they didn't have shit. It was a fucking bullshit claim. The second they said, I'm going to defend myself, charges mysteriously disappear and you don't hear shit about it. That should say a lot. After Robinson read her testimony in a London courtroom on Friday, lawyers representing the U.S. accepted the witness statement as accurate and confirmed they had no intentions of cross-examining the claim. They did dispute, however, that President Donald Trump gave his blessing for the pardon offer. Now, what I find funny is they're literally taking that she said, that if you name the source, we'll give you a pardon. You gotta love always taking what she said and twisting it here to that basically, we want you to name your source and make sure it isn't a Russian. And then they're like, the government backed it up and Trump. No, that's not what happened. But see, the average Daily Beast reader is such a fucking Trump deranged moron or just a moron in general, they're actually going to buy this shit. And maybe some normies might too. But it's nothing but lies. James Lewis, who is representing the U.S. government, said, the position of the government is we don't contest these things were said. We obviously do not accept the truth of what was said by others. So basically what they're saying is, and you're trying to twist it and why it's at towards the end of the article here, is that we can't contest what other people said. We weren't there. We weren't witness to it. We don't know what was said exactly. And you're trying to twist it. This is so sleazy. But this is where it gets even scummier. Robichaud was known as Putin's favorite congressman. By who? You idiots on the left who don't like the fact that he's a Trump supporter, who tried to get Assange to name the actual source which would destroy the Russian fucking narrative? Fuck off and die, because we know that's why you're doing that shit. Because he's going up against your Russian bullshit narrative. So of course he's got to be Putin's fucking cockholster, right? The logic of these idiots, or I should say lack thereof, is so friggin' funny. But yeah, Putin's favorite congressman partially corroborated the claim back in February, saying at the time, I spoke to Julian Assange and told him if he would provide evidence about who gave WikiLeaks the emails, I would petition the president to give him a pardon. He knew I could get to the president. So basically, he just destroyed your bullshit right there. With a quote from him, you destroyed your own bullshit. Because he's saying, I said, give us the source. I can get you a pardon. He didn't say, give us a source that's someone other than the Russians. He didn't say, cover for the Russians. He didn't say lie. He said, give us the source and we'll get you a pardon. But oh no, we can't have that factual truth be out there. These people are fucking retarded. They think people are stupid. It's so sad. And they're still in their little bubble right now. And they don't realize how much all the shit that they stirred up in this country has shifted people towards Trump. It's so funny. They're so fucking ignorant that they don't realize. They turned off a lot of the country to their bullshit, like to the fucking shit they're pushing, because they actually woke up and went, fuck me. This is what you want? I don't want my shit burnt down. I don't want my... You're covering for these assholes looting and rioting? I don't want my shit burned down. You're covering for these assholes who are showing up at people's houses to harass them? trespass on their property and then get them arrested for defending themselves in their property, like within Milwaukee there the other day? Come on now. You people are disgusting. Vile human beings, every one of you. Oh, they truly are. Robichaud said he followed up the meeting by calling then White House Chief of Staff John Kelly to discuss the pardon. However, the ex-congressman said he never spoke to Trump about it. Yes, but you're trying to do 65 degrees of separation and link him to Trump. Holy shit. So he didn't talk to Trump, but you're trying to say he did, and that he was Trump's bitch, and he was fucking doing what Trump wanted. Wow. Regardless, Assange turned down the offer, his lawyer said. Assange has argued that he should not be extradited to the U.S. because the American case against him is politically motivated. Yes, it's by the deep state. Trump offered him Trump should pardon him or whatever else, but he offered him an olive branch to fuck over the DNC and say, hey, you want to screw over the deep state. You want to screw over Hillary. Okay, he didn't do this. Let me rephrase that. Robichaud did this. What he should have done is actually approached it like that. You want to screw over all of these assholes that have made your life a living hell? Name your source. Which, hey, journalists, they really shouldn't. But if I was Assange, I'd be fucking tempted with that offer. I would be very tempted to drop that fucking truth, that fact of who dumped it. Because if it is Seth Rich, which we're all pretty sure it is, the people that don't buy into the legacy media and that. If it was him, then that could open up a can of fucking worms like you wouldn't believe. Because now, if Seth Rich did do it, they're going to be looking into why he was murdered, and they're going to have to actually look into it instead of going, oh, it was a robbery gone wrong, when nothing was taken or anything like that. They will have to actually look into it. So, do I want Assange, as a journalist to give up a source? No. But would I understand if he did with the situation he's in and the fact of getting back at every motherfucker who's trying to ruin his life and make him spend the rest of his life in prison? Yeah. I could understand that. And I could see him doing it, and I wouldn't hold it against him. He spent almost 7 years hiding in the Ecuadorian embassy in central London, claiming that he would be jailed in the U.S. if he wasn't granted asylum. He was kicked out of the embassy last year. Yeah, because the deep state went and made pushed this deal that was negotiated, which Pence was a part of, and he's a fucking idiot for it. He should have said, no, fuck you. All right. And they offered Ecuador IMF loans. They offered Ecuador fucking forgiveness on fucking money that they owe the U.S. They offered them a bunch of shit to get Assange. And that was fucking shady. I don't agree with that. And I don't know if Trump had any involvement in that. He might have had peripheral knowledge. But if he actually knew the situation, I don't know. Or he could be playing 4D chess and he's like, well, you know what? When it comes down to it, I'll just pardon him. Who knows? But at this point, I can understand if Assange wanted to name his source. Just to fuck over everyone trying to ruin his life. Or has been ruining his life to this point. And wants to ruin it even more. If Assange fails in his fight against extradition to the U.S., he will face up to 18 charges, including conspiracy to commit computer intrusion, which his defense argues could result in a prison sentence of 175 years, which he never did it himself. This is what's fucked up. They're trying to get him for what most people would say Seth Rich did, which is complete bullshit. He is kind of being treated like Kevin fucking Mitnick right now. He really is. For those of you who are not familiar, go check out Kevin Mitnick's story. They tried to nail him for a bunch of shit. Super inflated shit. Because he basically, as a social engineer type of hacker, because he does have the hacking skills, but his talent was to social engineer. All right. He literally made all these companies look like fucking fools, like Digital Equipment Corporation. All right. They tried to say, oh, it cost us millions and millions of dollars. He never released the code. He kept it for himself. He fucked with the code. He made changes to it. He didn't do anything like that was malicious with it, on the note of, like, say, finding ways to compromise their systems for, like, his gain or the gain of someone else. He didn't do anything like that. All right. But they held him in prison for 5 years without trial, in solitary confinement. The government lied and said to a dumbed down, idiotic judge that if he had access to a touch-tone phone, he could whistle into the phone and launch nuclear missiles. I shit you not on that. They want to do the same type of thing to Assange here. It's not right. And I wouldn't blame him as a journalist naming his source at this point, just to fuck him all over. Because if it is Seth Rich, the guy is dead and he deserves justice. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm leaving things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.